Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good whatever time it is, wherever you are, whoever you are, welcome once again to Nerd Week Live, the show in which we, folks at Nerd Caliber, talk about nerd news that has happened over the past week since our last show last Tuesday. I'm Rodney Brown. I'm the editor-in-chief of Nerd Caliber. I am first-person shooter on Facebook and Instagram as a cosplay photographer, burly_adopter on Twitter, a couple of other places doing a bunch of other things. Joining me tonight, we gotta end with the introductions of the pirates. So Greg, take it away.
I mean, yeah, I don't want to follow. I don't want to follow Crash after he's bringing this much smoke to the table.
Ooh,
Hi everybody, Greg Snyder, aka Wonder Llama Photography. You can find me. We were just talking about this actually. Wonder Llama Photography on most of the usual places. Red Raven Studios, just outside of Boston. You'll find us there as well if you're looking for doing any photo shoots. We've got some interesting stuff, some continuing some unfortunate stuff. If you've seen any of our trailers, it's week 3 of Ezra Watch, unfortunately. But we do have some cool trailers we're going to touch on. Some couple things to put a smile on my face today. So after a weekend of hot garbage fires, it was nice to see some something fun. So looking forward to it.
here.
So pop in some stuff on the chat. Hope to have a good conversation, and I'll turn it over to the Dread Pirate Crash.
Sounds to me like Greg just stole my spiel. I can't believe you, matey.
It's inconceivable.
Oh man, hopefully my spiel is a lot better from the week prior to my vacation, where I looked like I was half asleep and possibly one-eyed open. But as always, it's always great to be here with you guys. I love being here with Rodney and Greg and Gogo when she's available and all the others. But for those of you who don't know me, I'm Luis Correa, also known as Crash the Stampede on Twitch. Crash the Photos if you ever want to go look on Facebook and see what kind of dumb shit I'm up to with photography wise. I'm a co-producer with Nerd Caliber. I like to produce some of that content. So, if you're a cosplayer, hit me up. We can maybe do something, we can work a little something out. But besides all that, as Greg said, we have a lot of fantastic things that we're going to talk about today. Some topics that Greg loves to go on for 3 hours about. Don't want to mention what that is.
I promised I would keep it very short.
We're like on week 4 of Ezra Watch. Lord knows that the man is just the person is just all on news by themselves, whomever and wherever they are. So be ready for that as well. And if you are in the chat, by all means, this is a live show, guys. So if you want to comment in there, we do monitor the chat. Just keep it civil. We'll have a nice conversation. We'll talk about whatever. Don't talk about my mom.
Yes, let's not talk about Lewis's mom.
She's a saint and she can hear you and she'll smack the shit out of you with a chancla. Take it away, Rod.
All right, well, Harry Brady, welcome to the chat over there on the YouTubes. We are back after last week's technical snafu on all of our platforms. And so, as we usually do, we'll start by promoting one of them, and that is Twitch. This is the newest one that we stream on in addition to YouTube and Facebook Live. So we're trying to build our presence on Twitch. If you have a Twitch account, please go to that URL that's on your screen right there, twitch.tv/nerdcaliber, and we'd love to have you follow us. All right, let's get this stuff out of the way. Harry Brady, Ezra Miller is a bad, I'm going to replace that word with person. But let's say it's not looking good, and here's the latest not looking good. Not specifically just this photo. This is one of my favorite roles that they've done recently. Trash Can Man from the recent updated Stephen King miniseries of The Stand. But the news is that apparently Rolling Stone did some digging and found out that there is a family, a mother and 3 small children living in Ezra Miller's farm in Stamford, Vermont, which is not necessarily that concerning, except there are reports that, and Rolling Stone claims they've seen this on video, that there are guns, multiple guns, just lying around the living room where the children are, and there is a from what they're reporting, an illegal amount of weed being grown, and also an alarming amount of weed being consumed in the presence of the children. The fact that they are on the farm is apparently true. The mother has stated this in, public social media statements, trying to defend why they are there. Apparently fleeing she claims, an abusive husband from Hawaii, which is where, Ezra Miller met them, because they were having so much fun in Hawaii, obviously. According to Rolling Stone, the father reported this to Vermont Department of Children's Services, who sent a social worker there and said, looks okay to me.
Oh, my God.
And, so that's where we're at. Who knows if Miller is anywhere near the property at any time? If they are, you would think it would be pretty easy to serve them. I don't know. If this is in fact really going on, there's a danger to the children. One of the reports is that this comes from two sources, according to Rolling Stone. Two independent sources, one of which gave them video. And one of those sources states that one of the children actually put a bullet in their mouth.
What?
Because the bullet was just lying around, and little kids do shit like that. So
I put some dumb shit in my mouth.
I mean, all kids do. And in fairness, bullet's not going to go off. Kid's not going to blow his head off putting a bullet in his mouth. It's just a real bad look.
Right.
Yeah, obviously. Like, even if the bullet's not going to go off, I mean, you could swallow it. It could suffocate him if it goes down wrong.
And it's literally a ball of lead, which is highly toxic to small children.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Like, in terms of things that you want kids to swallow, bullets and clergy are two that you don't want at any time.
Lewis. And that's okay. We don't need to make money off YouTube this month. That's fine.
It's a new record for you, Crash.
The Vatican doesn't
7 minutes in.
It's not an inaccurate observation, but so if there are bullets around to be placed in children's mouths, that implies that there are bullets that can be put into guns. The guns that are lying around. And by the way, the reports of these guns are assault rifles, and handguns.
Lord.
And
I feel like Ezra Miller. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, I mean, that is a danger that is very, very personal to me. I have had a cousin who was killed by another young friend when that young friend picked up their dad's handgun, which was just lying around, and went out, and everybody went playing with it in the barn.
That's terrible. I'm sorry to hear that.
It was very terrible. The boy, not realizing that both of my cousins were on the other side of a cow stall wooden wall, just fired the gun. And done. So it bothers me an awful lot to hear that there's the possibility that a child is in a situation where they could pick up a gun and hurt themselves or anybody else. And the fact that the Vermont Department of Children's Services, if this report is correct from the father, and again, Rolling Stone says they've seen texts from the father and this social worker, that they visited and didn't see anything wrong. Either somebody's story is wrong, or somebody at the Department of Children's Services need to be fired.
Yeah. Chances are they stepped 10 feet onto the property and was just like, okay, cool. I got a million other cases I got to do. I can understand that sentiment to a degree because I'm in healthcare, but also you got to do your due diligence when it comes to things like that. You can't skimp on that. If you're told that there's something going on, like, you got to go into the house and verify, not just onto the property.
Yep, 100%. Harry Brady clarifying, he is a bad person. I don't know what the Flash movie will be like.
Well, neither does Warner Brothers.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a movie, so it's gonna, whatever he's acting in that movie whatever they're acting in that movie will be what it is. Whether or not it gets shelved at this point or not, I don't know.
There will be actors in spandex.
Yes.
Yeah,
That we know.
I feel like at this point they should just be like, look, direct to DVD
Cut your losses
or
and
streaming, DVD.
straight
What
to
am
streaming
I just aged myself.
Exactly.
DVD. That's adorable.
You just run down to Blockbuster and get one of those, would you?
Yeah. Let me get that.
Wait till it comes
out.
on the radio and you can press record on your cassette tape.
There you go.
Nice.
Sorry.
It's interesting. The depends on where you read some of this. I read the Rolling Stone article this morning, and obviously everybody's got their own slightly editorial slant on how it's on how it's written. That gave it much more of a kind of low-key, sensationalized, ugly divorce case kind of. You expect to see it on a Lifetime movie, the way they kind of canted the story. It was much more of a ugly divorce case and not so much about Miller per se. Well, plenty of it was, but so it made it a little harder to kind of suss out the facts going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is just, this is already the muddiest of muddy waters, and to just throw in that much more dirt and make the water that much more muddy isn't helping anybody.
Yep.
It's
if I was a crazy person, like a tin hat person, I'd be like, wow, this is like the
guy wearing the
craziest
hat.
Yeah. It's the craziest conspiracy that he's just they're just doing this kind of thing, just for whatever, red flag, whatever, because it just seems so like absurd. And it's like someone was like, here's these bad stereotypes about LBGTA type people, and they just showed up and was just like, bet I'm gonna prove all of that. I'm gonna do all of those one at a time, like a Christmas list, just check them all off as I go down. That way, anytime anyone has any criticism towards that community, they could just point to Ezra Miller and be like, that person.
Yep.
That's the justification right there.
Yep.
So do you think Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene got to him?
I mean, if there was a parallel world where Crazy Crash with the tin hat and yeehaw was around, yeah, sure, I would believe that, and Trump was sitting on their brain the whole time.
Yeah.
But in this reality, I think like Ezra Miller just needs help. Like,
yes,
yeah,
someone should have been there and recognized these patterns, because that's what you pay these people. Excuse me, that's what you pay these people for. Your handlers, to recognize these type of things and to step in. Theoretically, or hypothetically, you want them to step in to minimize any outcome, especially for a studio that marked him out as someone that's going to be a big star in a lot of their movies going forward.
Yeah. They are.
Yeah, I've been making that mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are clearly somebody who is under the influence of an awful lot of something that is making what I'm assuming is an already tendency towards paranoia just go off the rails. You don't just happen to have multiple assault weapons, rifles, and handguns lying around off the whim of, I think I'm just going to buy a bunch of stuff. That's built up over the course of years.
Yep.
And that means that his paranoia has been building up over the course of... their paranoia has been building up over the course of years.
Yeah. I mean, it's very, very different. I don't mean to draw any kind of real direct parallels, but when you said that, it reminded me a little of Hunter Thompson. You take enough LSD, you're going to start, warehousing a whole lot of guns and shooting anybody that sets foot on your property.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is kind of a surprise. He takes his... God damn it. Yeah. I was so good in the last 4 weeks.
Going forward, anytime we misgender them, I'm going to do a donation of $5.
Thank you. I'll try to make sure that you don't have to do that. It's kind of surprising that they have decided to take their troubles on the road and not do that, not hole up in a farm, in southern Vermont and wait for the authorities to show up, with a gun on your hip.
Turn into Waco.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was literally just thinking that Waco.
This is. I don't want to predict this. I really hope this does not end badly. I really do. I'm less and less inclined to think that that's going to be the case every week.
Yeah, I was thinking that kind of like Waco kind of stuff from what's his name, the Mobius guy, but because he got his caught in the islands there, but not Ezra Miller.
Oh, he's a very different brand of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has his super call out in the islands,
and Leto has said some transphobic stuff. So
yeah,
definitely a different type of crazy.
Yeah. Hopefully, he can method act into a good person.
Yeah. All right. Just anybody, if you haven't seen the quote, look at Robert Pattinson's quote about method acting. It's spot on. Anyway, moving on. Another follow-up from a previous article. And start the timer. I'm doing timers now, guys. That is him again. That's the face that everybody wants to punch, Bobby Kotick. And this article is about Activision Blizzard, but it's not really about Kotick. Although, in addition to this story, this past week also, Kotick had his contract renewed as CEO. This story, however, is about the fact that the Activision Blizzard, and this is a good story, kind of, the Activision Blizzard shareholders have voted to require the company to publish an annual report on its efforts to curb workplace abuse, an effort that the Activision Blizzard executives and board tried to get the shareholders to vote no to because, quote, rather than diverting energy and resources toward creating yet another report, we should continue to directly respond to employee concerns, as though making a report would make them stop doing it.
Right. That's like the almost like the Starbucks union busting argument. You can talk to, if you have a problem, our relationship is a personal one. You can speak with us directly. No, motherfucker. So many people have done that prior to this bullshit, and you completely ignored them. And then you're suddenly going to turn an about face now that your balls are twisted in the wind. It's not happening. And an annual report don't mean shit, because I write reports all the goddamn time, and I leave out a lot of shit in my reports that I can't that I can't or won't report. It's all in how the wording is.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a nice video game you got here. Shame if it burned down.
Yeah. Every annual report is going to have 2 words. We tried.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the whole report.
So now, in this case, I think it's given a checklist, essentially, of the things that they say they're going to do. So if any of the stuff that's in an annual report doesn't hit one of those checklist items, somebody, and since it's an annual report, that means it's filed because they're a public company in their public disclosure statements. Somebody in the media is going to go, hey, wait a minute, weren't you going to, create new diversity hire groups or something? And they'll have to go, oh, yeah, we meant to put that in the report, but... And somebody will call them on it.
Yeah, but, being realistic for a second, those things get buried a lot. It'll take quite a while, a couple years maybe, before some media decides to turn their attention. Blizzard would have to do something extra stupid for them to show up back in the media eye, for them to go, hey, I'm going to go deep dive and look at these reports and bam, 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 and then something else. And then they'll just do the apology tour again and say, yeah, no, guys, we fucked up this time.
Yeah,
we'll try to fix it again. I have no faith in that unless there's a definitive punitive damage attached to it, or some type of punishment if you do not meet these expectations.
Yeah. Well, the shareholders can't do that other than firing the executives and board.
Right. The thing that isn't that isn't said here is who's preparing this report. If it's telling the executives of Blizzard, Activision Blizzard, you need to do this, whatever your in-house your in-house investigators are finding, you need to compile it and submit a report to the shareholders. They can put the thumb on the scale. They can say whatever they want. You can find whatever. If you work backwards from the conclusions you choose to present, it's very easy to look favorable.
Yeah.
Versus some outside group being required to present, bringing some outside company in to do an annual analysis of what's going on. I mean, my company right now, we're getting ready to go through a SOX audit, and I don't have a whole lot of say in what I present to the board. It's, here's what you need to present to us, and if you don't present it right, we will know.
Right.
So there's a big difference.
Yeah.
This could be a lot of saber rattling and very little actual saber clashing.
Yeah. I'm a big believer in action, not words.
Yeah. Yes. They could put whatever they want in there. They are in such. They are right in the crosshairs of such sites from all kinds of media right now, including the ones that regularly scour the annual report disclosures from publicly traded companies, like Bloomberg, which has reported on this extensively, that if they put easily verifiable garbage in a report like this, like I said, they're going to get called on it. And just because it might not mean that they're doing anything, the shareholders are trying to get Activision Blizzard to actually disclose information. Now, whether they do it properly or not, I mean, they've got to get at least an attaboy for that. Boy, you don't. Do you?
No, I'm companies can kiss my butt. Companies take so much from people, and they're so dodgy in so many things that I don't think I should give them an attaboy for doing the right thing.
Not Activision Blizzard, the shareholders.
Yeah, but they're making the money from the company.
Well, true.
Like it's in their interest to put that stuff out there so that it doesn't mess up the flow of money.
Yeah.
Look,
Yes,
I've
is
worked,
true.
I've worked at companies that from day one are fairly good about DEI, about actually following up on any kind of harassment stuff, and actually doing the right thing. And even they're not very good about stuff like that. This is a company that has demonstrably tolerated it from the top down for years, and they finally got their hand in the cookie jar. Sorry, that's a really terrible way to phrase that. Inadvertent, I promise. They got caught out one time too many by the wrong people, and they're really not paying a whole lot of consequences other than a lot of bad press. I mean, Microsoft still did swoop in and say, how's $70 billion? That work for you guys? Sound pretty good? What do you think? Good? May or may not happen, depending on what regulators say. Who knows? But it's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen anything to make it sound like anything so awful could come together that it won't. At the end of the day, there'll be a lot of warm and fuzzy, we care, and memos and reports, etc., and not much else, is my prediction. If companies that actually do give a crap don't do much about it, companies that clearly never did give a crap aren't going to do anything about it.
All right.
Call me a cynic if you want, probably because I am one, but there it is.
Yeah, I can see that. I still think the shareholders need to be given a little bit of credit for at least trying to get them, even if it's so the company doesn't implode and they can still make money.
Sure.
To be honest.
It's there's
Eh,
you can't ascribe any altruism to it. It's
No.
purely a profit motive,
Yep.
and
yeah.
this is a
That's not a reason to dismiss the fact that it's the right
sure.
call.
Right. It's the right call for not terribly noble reasons.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it results in an improved scenario. But
Just for the sake of argument, I'll give them a 1998 gold-plated coin off of 2 a.m. in the morning market show saying, "Here, you tried." You
At
can put
least
that in
that's
your
something.
You can put that in your commemorative thing, and hopefully it'll gain some sort of monetary value that you could turn in at a future point.
I can't believe I'm the optimist in this group. That's shocking to me.
I just don't like companies. I just don't believe in companies doing. They don't do the right thing for you and I. They do the right thing for them.
Right. And sometimes
Absolutely.
the right thing for them also happens to coincide with the right thing morally to happen.
But I don't. The moral is not the thing that they're utilizing it for. If they were doing it because it was a moral thing, maybe. But they're not doing it because it's a moral thing. It's like someone robs a bank and I'm gonna high five them for not shooting everybody.
Do you want them to not do it just because their motives are bad? Do you want to not get an annual report?
No, they can do whatever they want, but I don't need to applaud them for it.
All right.
Sure.
All right. Moving on to a much more uplifting topic.
Are we done with bad people doing bad things for bad reasons?
No.
No,
Damn it.
not yet.
No.
Not yet. I don't have
Well,
any pants on. So
maybe.
that could be a bad or a good thing.
I was going to say,
Well, don't
I
stand
wouldn't make
up.
that judgment call right now.
You were talking about saber rattling earlier. There you go. If I
Hi-yo.
stand up, that's what's gonna happen.
But
Sorry, toothpick rattling.
really thin and sharp.
We're throwing Rodney off his.
Yes, exactly. Let's move
You're
on
rattling.
to our next topic, which is the trailer for the sequel, the 29 years in the making sequel to the classic Hocus Pocus, just dropped today. And I gotta say, kudos to the makeup artists. Damn.
Like they haven't aged.
Yeah,
at all.
exactly.
Wild.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It looks interesting. It looks like they've done an excellent job of updating the special effects, because the original was pretty heavily special effects movie. But it's pretty much just the same sort of story. Different people light the black candle and summon the, ancient witches and, bad stuff in the city of Salem. Thankfully, this was filmed in Salem and Marblehead, my town. So it's going to look right. All are subjected to the horribleness of the Sanderson sisters. Greg, what do we think?
I mean, it's a teaser trailer, so you really only get a little snippet. I thought it looked pretty cool. I mean, it's literally just Rodney, as you alluded to. You see a couple of what look to be the young, probably late junior high or early high school age kids finding the candles, so you're kind of introduced to what they're going to look like. Candle gets lit, Sandersons show up, there's some high camp, and that's all we see.
Yep.
But absolutely, the three main actresses look fantastic. Bette Midler, she's immutable. I actually saw her on something the other day. She does look basically like she looks in the shot that you put there. Obviously, a lot of very professional makeup artists putting all the stuff on all three of them, but she looks absolutely. I was about to say she looks fantastic for her age. I hate it when people say that. She looks fantastic.
Yep.
I hate that qualifier. She looks absolutely fantastic. They all three of them look like they're just chomping at the bit to get into this. I mean, they all chewed the scenery to pieces in the first movie. It was high camp. It's it's a queer icon film for a lot of reasons for a lot of people. I have a feeling it's going to be again. It has the potential to be as well. It looks fun.
Yep.
And just in time for just in time for October.
September 30th.
Yeah.
It apparently hits Disney Plus. That it's not actually going to get theatrical release.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I feel like
unfortunate.
being on a streaming site, this particular movie, it would be beneficial than going into the theaters.
Yeah.
I think it'll hit a wider audience, to be honest. A lot of the older audience that were younger when the original movie came out, and now they kind of like, I don't want to go nowhere no more. I'm tired. I work 8 hours. I don't want to go out to a movie. You're hitting that crowd, that perfect crowd that's gonna love that nostalgia. And watching the trailer, I will say that I did notice a few things that were kind of interesting. I don't know if it plays into the movie, because there was a line in there that kind of like bugged my ear a little bit, where she mentioned growing into your witch powers while they were showing one of the young ladies. So I was wondering if maybe one of those young ladies will be a witch, like a modern day witch, or grow into those powers or something like that. And then it seemed like the neighborhood or the town itself was aware of the sisters, but celebrating the sisters in a weird like Halloween kind of way. And like they're like, oh, the Sandersons, so, the headless horseman will come down the neighborhood kind of thing. Like it's a gag, but it's also something we're celebrating as a part of the culture of the community.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like, oh man, because there was the dude where it's like, oh, the Sanderson sisters, you're ready to go on stage. And it's like, oh wow. And then in the queer part of me was like, yo, but what if the ones who are not the Sanderson sisters that are dressed up like the Sanderson sisters are drag queens? That'd be hot. That'd be hot.
So
That'd be a very cool update. I like it.
my take on it was that he thought they were, since it's set in Halloween, that they were, in costume and were about to go up onto a Halloween costume contest. I bet you guys can't wait to get on stage. And Bette Midler just, again, chews the scenery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see it both ways.
Yeah.
Like maybe they have performers, maybe it's a contest.
Yeah.
I can see it both ways. Yeah.
I mean, the one thing I really hope is that, I mean, it's updated. It's going to look different. It's not going to be 80s. The 80s films have 80. What year did that come out? 87, 88, something like that. Doesn't
Old
matter.
enough.
It has that vibe. It has that look. It has that feel. It's campy.
29 years, that would be 83.
Okay.
So
So
after I was born.
it's what do you call it? 93. That can't be right. But
Oh, yeah.
whatever. Doesn't matter.
93.
I hope that they don't fall into the trap of everything has to have a backstory. Everybody's got to have their own separate arc of this and explanation of that. Just be fun. Just have fun with it. Let the main characters be the over-the-top anarchy forces that they all were. Let Sarah Jessica Parker still be the crazy airhead ditzy woman. Let Bette Midler just, hand me some scenery, get me my dentures, let me chew on it for a while. Because she's perfectly cast for that. And hopefully they don't lean too hard on CGI.
Yep.
It needs to be campy. Crash, you're absolutely right. If they lean into some sort of the drag elements, whether it's actually drag performers or just sort of the drag aesthetic, that would be fantastic. Just high camp.
Yeah. I don't think a movie like that needs a lot of CGI, to be honest. Like a little, the spell casting maybe here and there, that has to be CGI. But like, I think the rest of it doesn't need unnecessary CGI. Sometimes too much CGI really ruins something, and it takes away the nostalgia and charm of practical effects.
Yeah. Doug Jones is coming back. One assumes he's going to continue to play their, what would you call that character? Reluctant henchman?
Good Billy, was it? No? Was he? I don't recognize the name. So was he Billy, the zombie guy?
Yeah, he was the zombie guy.
Yeah, I think Billy would be like, I would say like a ghoul.
Well, it was definitely a ghoul, but he also was, wasn't he their servant in some fashion?
Billy Butcherson. Yeah, I don't know why I can't remember that name.
Yeah.
The only term that comes to my mind is Renfield.
Yeah.
Definitely not Renfield.
It's a name, but it's also used
Yeah.
in Vampire the Masquerade to denote a human that's being controlled.
Yeah.
So they're a Renfield.
I think he was kind of reluctant to be in that position. He was not real happy about it, and
he was like a goon, a minion.
He threw in with our teen heroes at the end.
Virgins,
exactly.
As they kept emphasizing throughout the whole movie.
So hopefully he comes back in the same role, in some fashion. But yeah, so I'm going to be the one guy in the room. I've watched it, I think, twice. I'm not that big a fan. It was a nice diversion. I watch it. The 2 times I've watched it actually have been to recognize filming locations in Marblehead. Go, oh yeah, I know that. I took Patrick there. Yeah, great. So that's pretty much it. I might enjoy this more, mainly just because of the updated quality of what I assume is the quality of the special effects. No. But we'll see on September 30th.
Yeah. Worst comes to worst, we'll just shove Rodney in a Wicker Man. He'll be all right.
There we go. Speaking of funny, creepy stuff, there is nothing creepier than this image I'm about to put up there.
Challenge accepted.
Oh God, what's the energy vampire's name?
Colin Robinson.
Yes, of Colin as a baby in a baby carrier. It's but clearly with the actor's face, and it's just disturbing as hell. But this is a clip from the upcoming, or the trailer for the upcoming season 4 of What We Do in the Shadows. And it's pretty funny. I have to say, I've had issues with the last 2 seasons of this show, but they ended the last couple in particular episodes, but definitely the finale of season 3 really well. And just the clips that they are showing in here looks like they're paying off a lot of the stuff that they set up in that finale really well. So I think I'm going to like this season more than I have anyone since season 1.
Yeah. I remember when we did the full fat spoiler chat on the most recent season, and while I absolutely understood the points you were making about horrible people being horrible to each other, and generally I'm in lockstep with you on that one. Somehow the concept and the actors and the characters, for me personally, transcend that, and I didn't have a problem with any of that. And I love the whole show so much. The humor, the writing, all of the actors just absolutely make it work for me. Thank God, thank the flying spaghetti monster, whoever you personally leave your cookies and milk out for, that they didn't in fact kill off Colin Robinson, and it was a head fake, because in a weird way he is kind of the glue of that whole story, and he's such a genius addition to what would otherwise just be stupid vampires sitting around being stupid. So that image, especially if you're old enough, like actually even in this case Crash is old enough to remember all of the stupid ass dancing baby memes when the internet was fresh and young.
Oh my God, man! Why you gotta
that baby Bjorn image? Just every time I see that, I'm like, oh, dancing baby. Ooh,
nobody wants to be remembered of that Ally McBeal bullshit. And yeah, I reached back on that one just to match you. I reached back.
There we go. So y'all remember where that came from?
Yep.
Single female lawyer.
I'm a single female lawyer.
We're having a night, huh?
We are. So I like I said, I think this is going to be fun.
Really obscure Futurama reference today. Thank you. Thank you. Keeping it alive.
Honestly, I don't have much of an opinion on this show, just because I've only watched like this like every time I go to my and I'll say this, not delicately, just I can't think of a better way to say it. Every time I go to my lesbian's home, and it's always on, like some weird fucking curse, freaking curse. I really got to stop saying that word. I'm trying hard not to say that word, but like I go in there and it's like, bam, vampires, and I'm like, oh, this is that show that everybody talks about from Taika Waititi, and they love it, and oh, this is funny, and then I leave, and then I don't watch it anywhere else. It's weird. I don't know why I do that. When I see it, I'm like, hey, this is kind of funny.
Is it one of those things that if you'd like found it on your own, you might have liked more, but because other people tell you how awesome it is, you have to watch it as the best show ever?
No, I don't think it's because
I'm
I don't think I'm being a contrarian about it. It's just more like things have to appeal to me right away. I'm like a dog. I got like short attention. So like if I go and I sit down and I watch it, I'll be like, yeah, this is great. This is funny. And then as soon as I walk out the door, it's like, man, what just happened? I think the dementia just kicked in.
Gotcha.
You know.
So can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I don't recall, because we may not have been on shows together where this has come up. Have you watched, and if so, are you a fan of Our Flag Means Death?
I watched 2 episodes. Not a fan.
Okay.
I was not feeling it, and which is funny because I'm dressed up as a pirate right now for undisclosed reasons.
So that's I don't want to get off on a sidetrack here, which we easily could, but that was when we did our full fat spoiler chat on that. That was Gogo and Rodney and I, Rodney and Gogo in particular. That was their biggest criticism, was that the first episode was really slow. Didn't do a great job of, putting the hook in your cheek and roping you in, or hooking you in, reeling you in, and getting you involved, which is a shame, because after those first 2 episodes, it became just the most spectacular show ever. So anyway, again, don't want to get sidetracked. I was just curious, because that's a clear case of what you were just talking about. If it didn't get you in the first, episode or half an episode,
yeah,
I do it.
And I think go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I feel like it's when I go and I try different foods that I'm not familiar with. It's like, man, this tastes really good, but I ain't never gonna buy this. Duck breast is delicious when I'm not paying for it.
There you go. We just set that aside as being the show that you watch with your lesbians, and that's
that's
it.
I mean, I bond with the lesbians. It's cool. I dig it.
I think to your point, because it just occurs to me now, I think you're right that is a Taika Waititi thing. That, at least in a series, the slow build to building up comedy that builds on itself is a thing. And that is probably why I'm looking forward to season 4 more than I did any of the last 2, is because I know what they have to do in the first episode. I know that it's basically bringing back all of the diaspora of everybody going off in their own directions. And the potential of funny in there is just really high. So that may be why I'm looking forward to it so much, because I don't think it's going to be one of those, okay, let's get through the first couple of episodes to get into the usual Taika Waititi build up the funny. Yeah,
understandable, yeah.
Plus, it's wonderful to find out that we taste like veal.
So in the article that Greg posted up here, one of the lines in the trailer, and watch the trailer just for this line, and I'm going to paraphrase it because I can't remember it exactly, but Nadia says something, well, the Ritz are just like veal, right? They're conceptually reprehensible, but they feel so buttery on my tongue. And I'm like, yes. Luminous, welcome to the chat. All right, moving on to our next topic. Now that everybody's hungry for veal. Another trailer that literally just dropped a couple of hours ago. Season 3 of Harley Quinn.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah, brothers.
So
2 thumbs up.
First off, I think that streaming services need to come up with their own version of a red band designation, because this is on YouTube with no red band or any other designation, and it is, I mean, the show is just off the charts funny and foul and gory this
Perfect.
kicks that up at least a notch, maybe a notch and 3/10. So
Absolutely.
it's wild.
And in case there was any question, they leaned into it at the end with the usual, like, bigger, faster, instead of just sort of the typical adjectives describing why this season is better than the previous one. Wetter, raunchier,
freakier.
All the freakier, all the adjectives are things basically from Urban Dictionary.
Yep.
I'm excited.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I don't want to give it away because it's kind of a really funny joke reveal, even though it's in the trailer, but it's worth it to just watch the trailer to get this. But the reason they're wearing the Court of Owls masks and they have this expression on their face is hilarious. Mm-hmm. It's just one of the...
I'm for an orgy.
Oh, now you just... Anyway.
Oh, my goodness. I just rewatched both seasons. I think I just watched the end of it, the last episode within the last week or two. Loved it even more the second time around. Is there anything Alan Tudyk can't be absolutely awesome at doing?
No.
He is so freaking perfect in that entire thing. I'm like, I don't think anytime, well, you probably heard this when we were talking about casting her potentially in the Joker follow-up. If you heard me saying Lady Gaga, that's Clayface. Yeah. That's his shtick whenever he's talking about anybody. But the voice talent in all of that is so brilliantly cast. Everybody leans into their roles really, really well. And it's just, I can't think of another instance of a property that's taken something like, the Batman universe and made it a raunchy, whatever the TV equivalent of an R-rated movie is, and just made it fun and filthy without being, it's explicit, but it's not explicit.
Right.
Yeah.
The whatever. I don't need to dive too deep into that one. Trying to figure out how to censor myself without. How has no one done this before?
I think the reason why no one's done this before, beyond if we're excluding Deadpool here, is just because they haven't had such creative leeway in terms of making it, Yep. It's kind of parallel, I would say, toward like The Boys. Like if you see like Seth Rogen's interview where he's just like, yeah, no, they just let me do whatever the hell I want. There's only like 2 instances that I wasn't allowed to do 2 things, and then one of them had to do with Twitter. But like it's the same with the Harley Quinn show, and one of the things that I'm really happy about in terms of the Harley Quinn show is the fact that in comic book form there's so much weird kind of, I don't want to say the word misogynist because it's not exactly there. There's a whole lot of I don't know what to do with these characters in the comics.
Yep.
And like they're doing something with Poison Ivy right now that's just kind of like messy, and they don't want to fully acknowledge the relationship and all that. So the show is great for people like us and women and the in-betweens that see this stuff and see that we can be out loud and proud and do all of this amazing stuff. So, and I mean, it's great. And for if you like Alan Tudyk, and I'm mispronouncing his name, I'm pretty sure, in Clayface, watch him as Mr. Nobody in Doom Patrol, first season. He was
not
really
my favorite role of
that.
his.
I thought he was really solid in that. Yeah. Like in terms
I
of
thought
like,
yes, he was really good. I thought the character was written badly. So
he was intentionally written badly.
Well, yeah, actually, you're right. He was, and that was part of my problem. Anyway, that's a completely different show, which we've talked about before, and different things. Watch this, folks. It's hilarious. Now, assuming that you are comfortable with that level of, gore, profanity.
Read the comic, too. Because there is a comic that picks up from the end of the first season and goes into the second season, called also named Kill Bang, and or Kill Fucking Bang. Same thing as season 2's title.
Yep.
Eat, Kill, Bang.
Eat, Kill, Bang.
Thank you.
Because they're not going to publish a comic with the F word on the cover. So
Not in DC or Marvel.
well, yes, and since she's a DC character. All right, moving on to our last topic, folks, which is not necessarily as good. Okay, pretty much not at all as good. So this is, of course, a scene or an image from the artwork for Valorant. Riot's, what would you call this kind of game?
It is a Counter-Strike with magic.
Yeah.
With abilities.
Their Destiny, basically. First,
No, that wouldn't be a good comparison.
really? It's not a looter shooter?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's literally like Counter-Strike. 2 teams fighting it out while hitting objectives in the middle of the map, just with abilities.
All right. So Counter-Strike with magic. Valorant, Riot has announced that they will be recording voice chat when you use the actual Valorant voice chat system for the purposes of training their voice recognition bots to ultimately, by the end of, I think this year it says, to get those voice recognition bots to start identifying problematic language and do things about people who are delivering that problematic language. There is concern out there that this is, sort of invasive of the users. They are only doing it on their own internal voice chat system. If you obviously use Discord or any other chat system, they're not going to record it, they say. Actually, I assume they can't because they're not connected to Discord in that sense. But what they also say is that they will only keep these logs. They call them logs. They're actually recordings. They're not logs. They're doing the recordings to make a system that can create voice-to-text logs to be able to identify bad language. They will only keep them long enough to actually do the recording or do the training of the AI, of the voice recognition bot, and then they get deleted. I'm of mixed minds about this. I'm kind of anything that can get, horrible, foul, racist, whatever idiots banned from a game. Thumbs up here. But is this the way to go about it?
You go first, Greg.
I mean, it's... by process of elimination, it may be the only way to go about it. There aren't really a lot of alternatives. But, I'll use us as kind of the devil's advocate and the angel's advocate when we posted this article on our internal, our internal board here. Your take was initially, great, whatever we can do to get the Gamergate a-holes out of, held to account, that's fantastic. And I work in IT security and I know what happens. These logs won't go away.
No.
They may be hypothetically anonymized. They won't be anonymized. It's, this stuff will stick around. And 5 years from now, if, I don't know, you get taken to court for being a whatever. I can spin all sorts of wild conspiracy theories here. Wouldn't surprise me if it was entirely plausible to pull this kind of stuff out of a black hole and these logs could be retrieved.
Yeah.
This is just how this stuff works. And that aspect of it isn't conspiracy theory stuff on my part. This is plain, hard, simple fact. This is what I do for a living on the white hat side, not the black hat side. Shit doesn't go away. It's on the internet. It's on the internet forever.
Yep. Yeah. And again, I kind of don't care. If you speak out loud into a corporate recording device, own it. That's
So
what you said.
This is what I'll say to that. I'll say to the whole Valorant thing is first off, there's not a single thing in this room that hasn't already recorded my voice 100 times over.
Yep.
You know, I've gotten so many Viagra ads on Facebook just because I said Viagra once in my room. So, you know, at this point, you can reconstruct my voice from literally anything that you could reconstruct my voice from this stream right now.
Oh, yeah.
No problem. Because Twitch and YouTube maintains the VODs for what, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks,
Well,
right?
At least.
Secondly, Valorant is a free-to-play game. You don't pay for this game. You just download it. When you download it and you hit that terms of service, you're agreeing to it. When the new terms of service comes out with this whole recording thing, you can opt out and not play the game. It's free. You're losing here on some skins maybe that you purchased or whatever in-game store stuff, and unfortunately that sucks. But you can opt out of it and not play the game. There's 100 other free-to-play games. Third, from the perspective of a person who's of color, a lot of people who are like, oh yeah, it doesn't bother me, haven't been called the N-word enough times and been a person of color to understand what it feels like to just want to enjoy a game. And then the minute anybody finds out you're a person of color or a woman or both, you get a barrage of the most foulest things possible. And then, you know, a lot of my friends who say, well, you know, you got to get a thick skin. I'm like, yeah, you're white. You don't hear this stuff every other day of your life. You're not called upon it. It's systemic to societal structure, and you don't deal with it every day. So for you, hearing that every once in a while, you can tolerate it. Me, I can't tolerate it in the place that I'm trying to escape from the world that treats me like shit. You know, I've been in Overwatch. I play using Overwatch as an example. I don't unmute my mic unless I absolutely have to say something in competition, because the minute I unmute my mic, someone says something nasty. And if my mic is muted because I play a female character, a female support, I get constantly propositioned by dudes, playfully, whatever, trolling or serious. You know, it's shitty. Yep. So yeah, record it, and if you hear people saying these words, ban them. I don't give a shit. You know, I'm willing to suffer the privacy intrusion at this point if it means that I can have some peace of mind when I enjoy a video game. You know, Valorant, I don't play Valorant, but if I did, I'm pretty sure, because Valorant is off of CSGO. It patterns after CS, Counter-Strike, for those who don't know. It's Counter-Strike. So the Counter-Strike community is toxic. It's like League of Legends toxic. You know, you will hear, I've been called slurs that I didn't even know freaking existed. You know, I've been called slurs from the 1940s. I can't even say right now, but there's a Canadian lubricant that sounds exactly like one of those slurs. So
wow. My curiosity would make me go look that up, but I'm not going to go look that up.
Typing Canadian lubricant is probably not the right idea.
I'll tell you after the stream. I don't want to say it in case the system.
Yeah, Lewis. Yes, the cynic in me and the IT security person in me. That was my response, not to suggest that, you know, no one should play this, or this kind of thing shouldn't be out there because of everything that you were just talking about. Yeah, I mean, I'm on Zoom calls all the time. I'm under no illusion that, you know, all of the, you know, I've got a Google Nest in my house.
Yeah.
They listen to everything I say. I've got a phone sitting next to me. I've got an iPad sitting next to me. Everybody on the internet knows everything I say, watch, read, do, and that other thing.
Unfortunately, intrusion-wise, I don't like it. I'll agree that I don't like anytime my privacy or anything like that is recorded without my consent. But if I'm playing this game, I am consenting.
You are consenting. Yep. That's exactly. And if that consent allows a company to create a better game space for more people, 100%. Yeah. So we are at 9:00, guys. We're going to wrap this up. So that's it, folks. That's our show. Real quickly, we are going to ask you to go quickly to check out, or whenever you want to. It doesn't have to be quickly. You can take your time. Our Patreon page, patreon.com/nerdcaliber, and consider being a patron. We only have 3 tiers, $2 for the lowest tier, and we use that money to help us get to upcoming cons. And please go check it out, patreon.com/nerdcaliber. Let's go around the other way. Our beautifully well-spoken tonight pirate, please give us a goodbye.
Thank you. It was fantastic for you guys in the chat that you jumped in. I really enjoyed the conversation that we had. I really enjoyed the conversation we had tonight. It was a lot of fun. And I'm going to do this for Greg because he stole my spiel earlier today. But go check out Red Raven Studios and some of the amazing sets that they're making. One of my really close friends, he just did a set with that. If it was a risotto made by Gordon Ramsay, it'd be just divine.
Greg swears a lot less. Well, a little less.
Out loud. He whispers it sensually in my ear.
Exactly. Greg, since your thunder has been stolen, come up with something.
No, you know, we're all thunder gods here. We all wield Mjolnir in our own way. Thanks again, everybody. It was a great show tonight. Always love chatting with these wonderful people. Lewis, thank you for the plug. I appreciate that. And if anybody on the show is in the Boston area and you're looking for some creative photography, Red Raven Studios just outside of Boston, happy to talk to you. Wonderlama Photography, and trying to think what we've got coming up. I will not be at any of the Connecticut cons, but we will see you at Fan Expo Boston. And it's probably never too early to start plugging this. We're officially official at this point. It's probably not on the programming, but can we announce what we're doing?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So it's official, Fan Expo Boston. We will be doing the cosplay and photography shootout again. We have gotten the go-ahead to expand it to 90 minutes so that we will be able to have a little bit more breathing room, maybe a 30-minute window to go out and shoot. And we're going to do what our frequent contributor here, Gogo, had the great idea to do like a little mini panel during the break period. Haven't decided what that's going to be yet, but it'll be a great opportunity to learn some stuff, have some interactive fun while people are out making photos together. So it's a twofer. So hopefully if you're going to Fan Expo Boston, you'll join us once again.
Yes, please do.
Yeah. Real quick, Rodney, are we attending Connecticut or no?
We are.
So we can put that.
Yep.
Okay. If you're in the local area, New England area, and you're attending Connecticut, by all means, pop in. We'll have some people there doing photos and possibly interviews.
So we'll be at Connecticut. We'll be at Terrificon at the very end of July. We'll be at Pop Cult Anime Con in Waltham, and then the insanity starts sliding down the hill, like every con, every weekend, all the time. Fan Expo Boston, Granite Con, Colossal Con East, blah blah blah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, for anybody who is in some cons outside of New England and some certain states, if you didn't see our post on the website, we've made the commitment that we will not be covering cons in any state that has decided to eliminate choice for women. And nothing coming out of those states. If there's a game studio that just released a game that's from that state, we will not be covering that game. If a movie was filmed in that state, we will not be covering that film. This isn't going to have any effect whatsoever on the state of the United States right now, but you don't make these kind of choices just because of that. You make them because it's the right thing to do.
Correct.
So apologies to anybody who we do not get a chance to take photos of until this situation gets changed. Having said that, please do have a good night out there, folks, and please do whatever you can to make yourself feel better about yourself in the midst of all of this horribleness that's been going on in the last few days. And of course, stay safe, from the COVID and the monkeypox, I guess. I don't know, and we'll see you at an upcoming show. We'll see you next week on Nerd Week Live here, and one of the upcoming cons, if you're going to be at one.